Okay, so what we got here going on is something that I'm going to do to bounce off my video that I did talking about Modern Warfare 4 because I was excited for that game, and now I actually want to kind of talk about a bit more games that I'm actually really looking forward to that's coming out by the second half of this year, or at the least within the first by like February of next year, just to put it lightly. And first I want to talk about is Wolverine from Insomniac. I mean, come on now. We all been seeing the trailers. We all was getting so hyped when they revealed this game. Like, when did they reveal this game? Back in like 2023 or even 2022, I want to say. And it was around the time when Spider-Man 2 by Insomniac was basically finishing up. Like, come on now. When it comes to Wolverine, I'm really, really pumped for that. I actually pre-ordered my copy through GameStop, and then I got the deluxe edition bundle. Like, the deluxe edition bundle, meaning I got the upgrade, so I didn't like just pre-order the game twice, even though that would have been dope. But it's more the fact that I have pre-ordered the game to get a physical copy through GameStop, and then if you go onto the online store, you can either obviously get a normal digital copy of the game or spend a little bit extra to get the deluxe stuff with the game, or you can just get the deluxe upgrade, which that was like about, I think, $20, because you're just getting the extra content itself without getting the game itself. Because since I already got the pre-ordered the game, I might as well just get the upgrades. So kill two birds with one stone. And I like it when I'm able to do that with my games. And I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm at a loss for words because it's like, again, I'm just really looking forward to this. And to celebrate that when that comes up is that there's that one Wolverine game that they made for Wolverine Origins back in '09. Because the movie itself, I don't hate that movie, I'm gonna be completely honest, but I do get why lots of people weren't fans of it. And it's so funny that what I heard is that apparently they were going to make origin movie stories or whatnot for all the other X-Men characters, but after how poorly the Wolverine movie was, then they decided to not do that for any of the other characters. But I kind of wish that they did, to try to give just a little bit of background on a bit more of the characters, especially for those that may have not read like the comics or watched some of the early TV shows or whatnot. But speaking of X-Men, there's actually an X-Men show that they just made just recently, or I think earlier this year, that's kind of taken like the art style and whatnot from like the cartoon and comics from way back in like the '80s. I think I forgot what it's called. I'm gonna show you're obviously gonna see a picture on the screen to kind of know exactly what I'm talking about, but I want to check that out. But to celebrate that, that Wolverine game, I actually go ahead and probably play that for the channel later on. I did play it a little bit. I'm not too far into the game, but I don't have a problem restarting and then just playing it for you guys. So yeah, so yep, there's gonna be that. That clap was loud as hell. But anyways, next up I actually want to talk about is Halo Campaign Evolved, and this is something I am really, really excited for because it's the OG Halo that we all know and love, fully remastered from the ground up, and we are getting 3 extra bonus missions that's mainly gonna star Chief and Sergeant Johnson. And I promise you, I did not take my name from him or Carl Johnson from GTA San Andreas. Someone made that joke already. Screw off. Anyways, yeah, but in all honesty, for the Halo campaign evolved, I really am looking forward to this on what they're doing. I felt like 343 is kind of taking what they knew from Halo Infinite and just putting it when it comes to the gameplay mechanics. They're taking some gameplay mechanics, I feel like, from Halo Infinite to put it into Halo Campaign Evolved. Now, when that game comes out, which by the time this video goes up, I think it's coming out in the next couple weeks. I could be mistaken. But when that comes out, I'm gonna be honest with y'all. Obviously I'm gonna play that for the channel, but I'm gonna be playing the PlayStation 5 version, and I know that that's gonna be somewhat of a forbidden sin, realistically, because Halo, along with Gears of War and Forza, are all Xbox franchises, but they're now pretty much on PS5. I want to switch things up and to really kind of do things a bit differently. And I kind of like the fact that it is going to be on PlayStation. Like, obviously, I'm going to get it on both PlayStation and Xbox, but I'm just going to be playing through the PlayStation version for you guys just to still I guess, break that pathway on the Xbox exclusivity. Hope I said that right. Um, yeah. So, yeah. Damn. And I'm gonna let you all know that all this is completely unscripted. I'm just going off the top of my head, like I usually do in these kinds of videos with these voiceovers. But anyways, next up I really want to talk about is Crazy Taxi World Tour. And guys, when I tell y'all that I was jumping up and down in my chair like a average girl getting tickets to a Taylor Swift concert, when I tell y'all how excited I was to see this, oh my, I could not contain my excitement that night. Because how I found out was that Sega had basically did their own game showcase, but I didn't know nothing about it and I didn't watch it. So what ended up happening was that I was on my account here for YouTube on the gaming side, and then I was really scrolling through my feed on my computer here. Excuse me. And all of a sudden, I saw on Sega's official YouTube channel, officially their YouTube channel, Crazy Taxi World Tour review trailer. And like I said, I was just hopping up and down like a hyperistic child. Oh my goodness. I couldn't tell y'all how excited I was for that because I love the OG Crazy Taxi. I don't even remember or even know how I managed to get myself involved into that, but it's just one of those games that I saw in the arcade that I just fell in love with because I can't even remember the first time I played it, but the earliest memory of that game I remember was I was with my cousin and we was over his cousin's house from his mother's side. I think they lived like just down the street from like the house that they were living in from when my cousin was like much younger, when he was like a kid or something like that, living out in Cummings, Georgia. And I was in one of the rooms. It was me, my cousin, and his cousin was in the room. And then I saw Crazy Taxi. I think as we're about to leave, I believe it was on the floor. And I couldn't remember if it was, I think it was the PS2 version of the game. And then what was so funny too, because like later, because this was actually around Christmas time back at around 2000. It was either 2006 or 2008, I want to say, is when I got my PS2 for Christmas that year. But that's kind of like my earliest memory that I did get that I remember of. And then years later, this was like a little bit longer. I mean, I had my PS2 for a few years by that point. Me and my mom, I moved into our house for just the two of us. And then I had got Crazy Taxi on the PS2, but then I got rid of it because of me being just there's the type of child that I was back then. Let's just say that I will be raising a bunch of eyebrows because I did not make any sense back then. So I pretty much I got rid of my copy that at that point. But then years later, I got an Xbox 360 for Christmas at around 2012, and I want to say in 2013, I was with my mom. I was with my mom and we were at a Big Lots, kind of just right outside downtown Lawrenceville. Like right now, it's actually a Planet Fitness because Big Lots is pretty much like no more. I'm pretty sure they maybe went online only, or I think the company has really just gone down under. But I was with my mom in Big Lots, and then again, I just got my 360 for Christmas in 2012. So most likely, it's either later on that month, like probably like a couple days later, or this is very early in 2013, probably like around January or maybe February. I'm not sure. I don't remember the exact time or moment, but I was in there and there was like this little kind of like cardboard cutout that those like little small stores will have that has like usually have like movies or something like that in it. It had games on there. I think it was a mix of movies and games, and I saw that there was this Dreamcast collection that was on the 360, which is actually exclusive to the 360 because Sega and Microsoft have a really close relationship, especially since Microsoft made the OS or the operating system that the Sega Dreamcast ran. And once the Xbox that came out, Sega has supported that console heavily back in the days in the OG Xbox. So seeing that collection, the fact that there was Crazy Taxi and Sonic Adventure on there, just those two games alone, I was excited for it, and I asked my mom for it, and she got it for me at that time. The thing is, with that version of Crazy Taxi on the 360, which is also the same thing for the PS3, is that the soundtrack in those games are completely different. And not even just the soundtrack, but even like some of the placements of like the stores and stuff that you would go to. So like if a customer in the game wants to go to Pizza Hut, it's called Pizza Parlor in that remaster. If they wanted to go to, I think one of the brands in there was Fila, it was like another brand name, like another it was like an official shoe brand. It was probably like a random shoe store name that they made up on the spot or something. And it really threw me off with both the store placement and with like the labels and like the brands back then. I didn't even remember too much about, but the one thing I definitely do remember was the soundtrack. And the soundtrack in the 360 and PS3 versions are completely different. And I'm not gonna lie, I was really, really bummed out. But the soundtrack kind of grew on me a little bit. I don't hate the new soundtrack now in those versions, but I'm still not a huge fan of it, and I will always go back to the original. Thank God that not only do I have a PS2 copy of that game, but I also have it on my iPhone, and I also have Crazy Taxi 3, which that is such a humongous like Crazy Taxi experience because even though that's the third official Crazy Taxi game, which is exclusive to the Xbox, as I said, Sega supported the original Xbox heavily back then, and that's an Xbox exclusive produced and made by Sega. With Crazy Taxi 3, it pretty much takes the like the the main map and characters from Crazy Taxi 1 and 2 on top of the new things with Crazy Taxi 3 and the new gameplay elements that they added into that game. So Crazy Taxi 3 is like the full Crazy Taxi experience basically. All in one neat little package that's exclusive to the OG Xbox. And I'm so glad that I managed to get my copy a couple years ago complete too. So yeah, and the fact that that trailer for Crazy Taxi World Tour was playing on Sega's official channel and playing the absolute theme song, which is oh my god, that song. Oh Lord, that song from the band The Offsprings. All I want. I can just hear it in my head right now. Oh my goodness. I was just way too excited for that. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. Next up I want to talk about is Tomb Raider Legacy of Atlantis. Now, it's Tomb Raider. We're all familiar with Tomb Raider, especially since Crystal Dynamics has taken over. Now, the version of the game, which is known as the Survival Trilogy, I played those games and I love those games. As a matter of fact, the reboot game from 2013 was actually the first Tomb Raider game I ever played because I first got it on the Xbox 360. My uncle actually had it years ago on the 360 and he played it, he liked it, and then I ended up getting it years later on the 360. And my God, I was in love with that game. I just loved how that game was when it came to the controls, the extra weapons that we were getting. I knew that raiding tunes was like the main thing, but with the survival trilogy, it's not the main point of that saga. It's more as an optional thing in the games. Still awesome, and they're treated as puzzles too, but they were still dope. And then years later, when I got a PS4, I ended up getting the second game, Rise of the Tomb Raider, and the version of that game that I did give was the 20th. I think it's like the 20-year anniversary edition or something. I guess to celebrate the 20 years of the Tomb Raider franchise. And that one actually came with not just the main game, but then with all of the extra DLC onto the game, all like on one disc and everything. So I'm actually glad that when I got my copy for Rise of the Tomb Raider on PS4, I did get that 20-year edition that came with all the DLC in the one disc. So that just made everything easier for me to go through that. And then there was Shadow of the Tomb Raider, which I later ended up getting. I did like that one. The relationship between Laura and Jonah was it felt a bit strained in the beginning, but they still got each other's back, which I love about that. And I'm so glad that he still lived, especially towards the end of that game, because that one scene where it made it seem like he died. If I was Laura in that situation, I would have been raising hell. Shit, I mean, what you saying? I would have been raising hell. But yeah, the survival line of the Tomb Raider games were the first ones that I played, and then there's another trilogy that Crystal Dynamics played, which is, I know there's Tomb Raider Legend, Underworld, and then I forgot the other one. I think it's called Anniversary, which I think it's like a remake of the OG one. And speaking of the OG Tomb Raider, I remember that there's obviously the remaster games from the OG PlayStation days, and I sampled one of them for a tiny bit on the Xbox Series X because of my best friend has it. I just haven't got the time to really play it as of yet, and I know that on the channel I had did a let's play on the first Tomb Raider survival game, but I did the definitive edition on Xbox One, which is again the same game from the 360 and PS3 era, just re-released on Xbox One and PS4 with all the DLC content all in just one package. So, but yeah, Tomb Raider is this franchise that I actually do like. I need to get more into it, and I'm actually gonna. I'm probably gonna do another Tomb Raider game here for the channel actually sometime here soon to help celebrate that. I'm not sure which one yet, but I need to get back to the planning stages when it comes to that. Next up, I want to talk about is this brand new Spiral game that we're getting, which is Spiral A Realm Beyond. Now, the Spiral franchise is something that I'm not too deep into. I'm kind of playing through the first game, both the original and the remaster on PS4. Thing is that I haven't really been putting too much time into those for some stupid reason, but at least I still have access to those. And then I don't think I own any other Spiral game. I think, well, I do have a Legend of one of the Legend of Spiral trilogy games that they made. I forgot which one it is that I have. I know it's the one that's on the 360. I know I have that one, and I think that's it. But the fact that we're getting a whole brand new Spiral game after how many years later from after the Reunited trilogy and from that last Legend of Spiral game, which was like the last official, I guess, original Spiral game that we'd get at that time. I'm actually looking forward to this. There's not much information. We just got the reveal trailer, and that's about it. So I'm gonna probably hold off on that, and then when we get more information, I probably will do another video on that. And last I'm gonna talk about for this video, at least mainly, is this Toy Story retro round. Ugh, the Toy Story retro roundup collection, along with Toy Story 3. So what this is that it's pretty much all of the classic Toy Story games from the very first Toy Story game that everybody got on the Genesis and Super Nintendo back in the day. There's Toy Story 2, which I actually did a video on some time ago, which I actually want to finish up that game and actually probably do a let's play on that. But then there's that, and along with some of like the handheld versions of games, and then a port of Toy Story 3 is we're supposed to be getting as well, almost like an HD remaster in a sense. That is something I'm actually looking forward to. I believe by the time this video is out, it should either all of those Toy Story games should either be out or they're coming out soon. I gotta check on the date. But I know that we're supposed to be getting some with the Toy Story here franchise here, and I'm actually really looking forward to that. That's all I want to talk about when it comes to games that we got coming out for the second half of this year and going into next year. So yeah, hope you all enjoy it, and please don't beat me up in the comments. And I'm out.